2025 Board of Police Commissioners meeting. We acknowledge that we are on the traditional lands of Treaty 4 territory and a treaty signed with 35 First Nations across southern Saskatchewan and parts of Alberta and Manitoba, and the original lands of the Cree, Saulteaux, Dakota, Nakota, Lakota, and on the homeland of Métis Nation. The City of Regina owes its strength and vibrancy to these lands and the diverse Indigenous people whose ancestors' footsteps have marked this territory, as well as settlers from around the world who continue to be welcomed here and call Regina home. So the first item in today's public meeting is approval of the public agenda. So can I have a motion to approve the public agenda, please? Thank you. I'll call the question. Anyone opposed? Carried. So the first item on the, we got to go to the minutes first, right? Okay. So can I have a motion to approve the minutes that were circulated from the meeting held on February 27th, 2025? Any errors or omissions? Right, thank you. We'll call the question. Anyone opposed? Seeing none, hearing none, carried. So we have one report today on the agenda, and that is PO 25-8 monthly crime statistics from February 2025. Deputy Chief Steve Lee, could you please introduce the report?
Sure. Well, good morning, everybody. Chief Sheikh is away for a few weeks. He's back in the UK celebrating the birth of a grandson, so he'll be back in a few weeks. Before we get to that report, Laura Lee and I just have a few comments. So thank you to the board, Mr. Mayor, Chair, councillors, commissioners for the support and approval of the budget last week. It means a lot to the organization and the people at RPS. I know we're in difficult times financially across the city, so it means a lot to have your support, and it's very much appreciated, so thank you for that. I just want to highlight a few things from last month, that being the work that was done on the ARO office at the Cornwall Centre, the rebranded Neighbourhood Watch, the Community On, and the camera registry. I understand that there's been about 125 cameras already registered, so it's a good success story for us on that end, and thanks again for your support. Regrettably, we had one homicide in 2025 in February. However, we made an arrest right away, charging a subject with first-degree murder, thereafter bringing them into custody. We also arrested a suspect in Edmonton in relation to a 2022 Regina homicide, and he'll be returned to Regina for court proceedings if he's not already returned here. In regard to some drug enforcement and ICE update, I'll turn it over to Laura Lee to provide you some information and some good news stories.
Good morning, everyone. So I think everybody is aware of the large file that our drug unit investigated just end of February. And so just as a quick synopsis of that, we had 5 people charged with over 34 criminal offenses, including criminal organization, a number of firearms related charges. They seized 7.5 kilograms of fentanyl, which is approximately 75,000 single doses. And so it's great to have that off of our streets. 476 grams of cocaine, 22 grams of methamphetamine, $151,000 in cash, a prohibited .22 caliber handgun and ammunition, and a restricted 9mm handgun and ammunition, as well as a number of other pieces of evidence that will help that case, and 3 vehicles as well. We had resources from our drug unit, our integrated intelligence unit, traffic safety, financial crimes analysis unit, major case management. We had partnership with the RCMP, Saskatoon, Civil Forfeiture, SGI, CBSA, and Crown Prosecutions. So just wanted to highlight the extensive and very successful work of that project. And in relation to that, back in 2024, we had a large file where we seized 5.5 kilograms of meth, 4.5 kilograms of fentanyl, 1 kilogram of cocaine, and 1 liter of GHB. And the main person in that file was just sentenced to 10 years in jail. And so it's nice that we're seeing some good outcomes through the courts, recognizing the significant impact that drug traffickers can have on our community. And then just one other to highlight was that our ICE unit at the end of February participated in a large project with a number of other enforcement agencies across the country. It led to 106 arrests nationwide, and there were 6 search warrants that were executed across the province, including some in Regina, that led to a number of charges as well. So a great coordinated effort by our ICE unit working with their partners to get those predators held accountable. Thank you.
Just a couple comments on the report itself before turn it back to you, Chair. Crimes against the person and crimes against property showed a combined year-to-date decrease of 14.5%, so we're trending in a good way so far this year, but we'll see what the improved weather brings in the next couple of months for crime stats. You also note the crime stat commodification of sexual activity. There's 13 events and 100% year-to-date increase. That's related to a John sting. And we don't have the numbers of arrests, but there were 13 charges generated from this project work, so some really good work in that event. And as most of you may know, it's a crime to pay, or at least to negotiate to pay for sexual services. It's not a crime to sell your sexual services in Canada, so just make that differentiation. And that's it.
Thank you for the report. Does anybody on the board has any questions on this report? Go ahead.
Just looking at the numbers here, we can't seem to shake those bin fires, but beyond that, a relatively good month, lots of negative stats. So thank you again for a productive month. My question is in relation to our overdose stats. We've seen a lot in the news in relation to Saskatoon and what's been described as an alarming overdose rate in northern Saskatchewan. That's overwhelming emergency services. Is that something that we're seeing on our end as well, or is maybe climbing in that trajectory?
Thank you for the question. It is not something, thankfully, that we're seeing in our community at the present time. We don't know specifically what's accounting for the large increase in Saskatoon. You know, I think certainly our efforts to take fentanyl off the streets of Regina may have an impact for sure, and so maybe there's just not that availability of fentanyl in our city. But certainly, you know, we understand that our partners to the north are going through something that is very serious, and certainly if there are any lessons for us to learn in terms of response prevention, we're in communication with them, but thankfully at this time we're not having the same impact here in Regina.
Good to hear, thank you.
Anything else? Well, thank you very much for the great report. I really appreciate that all the hard work is reflective of the negative numbers, so hopefully we can keep it that way, and thank you for all the good work there. Can I have a motion to receive and file the report, please? Thank you, George. I'll call the question. Anyone opposed? Seeing none, hearing none, carried. All right. I would like the members of the board and RPS to move over to the RPS wall over there for a special presentation, and the media scrum will follow after that. And can I have a resolution for a private session, please? Thank you. I'm seeing no opposition, so carried. We'll recess for 20 minutes.